So obviously the discovery process, the interview process is the critical element in really identifying the opportunities where we can be of greatest service to a client. But to execute a great discovery meeting or discovery interview requires some intentionality, and it really requires in-depth pre-call planning. And David, in our experience, this is an area that is often at the best overlooked and at the worst intentionally skipped by a lot of practitioners. Walk us through what a quality pre-call plan is all about.
Yeah, Phil, a really important step for the practitioners is the pre-call plan and understanding a game plan, if you will, before going into that opportunity, whether it be they're going in solo, whether they're going in as a team, who's going to talk when, and really more specifically, how the agenda is going to be formatted. The pre-call plan is critical to the delivery of the advisor and their team to be able to not only control the dynamic in the meeting, because as we well know, if the advisor and the practitioner does not keep the baton of control, the client will control the interaction. So in the pre-call planning, whether it be a disciplined agenda with time elements on the agenda point, whether it's this is I'm covering this, Daniel's covering this, and Phil's covering this, and then the last point being a next step action plan, the pre-call plan is all about not having the meeting in the elevator going to the client's building, but doing that in advance, then sharing it with the client to make sure that he or she is buying into what it is that we are going to do. It's not my meeting and they're sitting there, it's our meeting. The pre-call plan is critical to the success of the advisor.
So really there's a tremendous level of research, not just planning, but a lot of detail that you're going through to really understand what you can before you actually sit down and have that conversation. So a lot of depth there.
Lot of depth. Not only just the depth of the agenda, but the depth of the questions that we will actually ask as a team. What might be the responses that the client or prospect will give us, and let us think through, and the analogy I like to use is the old Price is Right game of Plinko. If the client says this, we need to be able to react, to think through a discussion path, if you will, in the pre-call plan.
Wow, great.
The other thing that's important about that, I think, is even before we get to the pre-call, to make sure that we should be going on the call in the first place. So one of the things that I always stress to people is whenever possible, you want to call that client for the appointment. Make sure you define very clearly what is the purpose of the appointment. Mm-hmm. What preparation am I going to do? But I also like to assign preparation to the client, because then they have a vested interest in it. It doesn't become the Daniel show when they get there. All of a sudden, both of us are working as partners to get this done. That also helps us to pre-qualify the client and make sure that it's really something I can help them with. There's a lot of times, just because of our breadth of knowledge, I can sit down with a couple and spend an hour with them going through a great conversation, but it's not something that I can help them with in the end. And so oftentimes in 5 minutes on the phone, pre-qualifying that client, we can get a very clear idea of, am I really the right person to meet with them? And will they bring their homework to that meeting? After setting that appointment, send a follow-up in writing, remind them what to bring, and probably the day before, some people do it the day of, calling once again and reminding them about the meeting, how long it's going to take, what the purpose of that meeting is, and by the way, did you get that homework? Did you bring that stuff with you? So many people don't prepare the client to prepare for that meeting.
And thus, the better prepared both parties are, the better the meeting outcome.